It's your boy Jamar back with another video. Back with another banger. Today I'm reviewing Divorce. This is season 1, episode 11, titled Dangerous Games. And this week's episode was pretty decent. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great either, but it was pretty decent, moving the storyline forward or whatever. So if you know, last week we ended with Laz overdosing and they found him unconscious. So we picked right back up and Franklin's trying to give him CPR. Rashida's on the phone with 911. And basically, Rashida has this narcotic, this narco, whatever that stuff's called, and she gives it to him. He comes back to conscious, and they're like, "Thank God she had that because if he didn't, he would have passed away." The paramedics come, they check him out, whatever. He's good, they leave. But then they find out that his weed was laced with fentanyl. So basically, he says that he got it from this dude's brother at the church named Quan or whatever. And they're like, I can't believe this is happening under our noses. Like, what is going on right now? And basically, Franklin's like, this is enough. You're going to rehab. That's it. I mean, Jefferson, not Franklin. Jefferson's like, you're going to rehab. That's it. That's it. You're going to rehab. And the son's like, no. He's like, you don't got no choice, boy. And then they're basically relieved because we could have lost him today and this and that and the third. So then Geneva goes over Naomi's house, and basically Naomi reveals to her that she doesn't really need a lawyer no more because she already asked Javon. Javon is gonna meet her at the courthouse at 11. So then Geneva's mad, like, oh really? Well, you don't really need me no more. Geneva is really getting on my nerves this season. I'm not gonna lie. I love Kadeem down, don't get me wrong, but Geneva, she's getting on my last nerve. She's starting to act like Karen from Sistas. Goodness gracious, at least Karen, I can understand why she acted the way she acted. Geneva's just, ugh, I hate Geneva. She's just my least favorite right now. I just do not like her. But she's really pissing me off. I'm not gonna lie. So she's giving everybody attitude who misses Javon or whatever. And she's like, oh well, you don't need me since you got lawyers. So that's when Naomi reveals that she done went over there and she done seen Javon and Tiffany, they just got done having sex and she's extra mad about that. And then she just in her feelings like, Geneva, nobody cares, girl. Ugh, I just don't like Geneva. Like, she really gets on my nerves. But Jefferson is in the car and he's having a talk with Laz. He's basically explaining to Laz how he could have lost him. Laz like, I know, I'm sorry, Dad. This and that and the third. And I understand. And it won't happen again. And, this and that and the third. So then Rashida comes over the house to Naomi's house, not Naomi's house, Tiffany's house, and she catches Tiffany and Javon having sex, and she basically telling them, "Listen, I'm gonna be downstairs making coffee, and y'all better hurry up and wrap this stuff up because I got things to do." So then while they're downstairs making coffee, Javon basically leaves, and that's when Tiffany basically tells Rashida that she called her to try to convince her not to, have sex with Javon. She was like, "You didn't need me to convince you to do that because you was gonna do that anyway, girl." So Rashida's basically over like, "Girl, bye. You don't really need me for nothing. You wasting my gas money, basically." So then Naomi and the person that she's hiring, I think Hakeem, right? I think that's his name, Hakeem. Naomi and Hakeem are talking, and she's basically, this is where it was interesting. She basically is telling Hakeem that Franklin used to beat on her and molest her son, which I feel like she's lying because I feel like she's just telling him that. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to say I feel like she's lying. I don't know if she's lying because she wants him to go ahead and kill her, which I feel like that's what she's doing because it's like, girl, if he was molesting you or something, why was you even with him? You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, girl, bye. So I feel like it's BS, and she's just telling him that so he can go ahead and um, kill Franklin. He was already with it, so he agreed to it once he heard those terms and terminologies. So then, Pastor Jefferson brings Laz to a morgue, a morgue or whatever, and he sees that this is where all the dead body goes, and basically this is going to happen to you if you don't stop using drugs. Basically trying to give him a life lesson, humble him. So then we cut to Geneva's law firm. Fun fact, it's the same law firm that Andy works at. I don't know if it's that in the same universe, but it's the exact same setting. I know they're all at Top 8 Studios, but goodness gracious, like, let me find out Geneva works at the same law firm from Andy from Sistas. Like, let me find out. That's really interesting. But Naomi goes over there. She's talking to Geneva, and she gives her $5 million in cash and tells her, "Listen, girl, put this in the bank, cause I'm about to do some. I'm about to get to some shit, basically. So go ahead and put this in the bank. Put this stuff up, and girl, just keep it safe for me, cause it's not yours. You just keeping it safe for me." Geneva's like, "What? No, I don't want. I don't want this money." Da, da, da. But then she eventually agrees to it. Girl, I would have took that money and ran off. You couldn't trust me with that money, but I guess she trusts Geneva, and she gave Geneva that money to put up, to put up in the safe, whatever. So then William is talking to Jefferson and basically telling him he needs to find out who the father is, because Geneva's only been around 3 men during that time, which was Jefferson, but he knows it's not Jefferson because Jefferson won't do that to him. Then he says Javon, but he knows it's not Javon because Javon won't do that to him. Little does he know. But then he also said it was this other boy named, what he said, Quan or something. I don't know what he said, but he said someone's name. And then he's like, he wants to question Quan to see if it's him or this and that, a third. And then he also said he should ask Rashida, but then Jefferson was like, "No, I'm not asking Rashida because we have some type of code or whatever." So then, boom, Rashida is talking to Myron about the whole situation, about him being into Pastor Jefferson, and Myron's basically like, "Listen, I didn't have a father growing up. Basically, he got daddy issues, and he loves Pastor Jefferson, but not like that." Rashida's like, "Listen, I don't know if you need some therapy or whatever, but if you come near my man again, I'm gonna slap you across his head with this Bible, okay, boy." That's what she was basically telling him. So then, um, what's his face? Javon and Tiffany are outside at the the jail cell, being all lovey dovey, and that's when Geneva show up with a big attitude, talking about some, "Oh, that's so unprofessional," and, "Oh, by the way, you didn't really care about how Anika was because you ain't called to check on her." And then Javon was like, "Well, that was me because I told her, like, you will call if it's important." "Oh, my daughter isn't important. And by the way, Rashida's going to take care of Anika when we go to Italy. So you're good on that." And then Javon was like, "Well, perfect, because she's coming to Italy with us anyway." She was like, "Yeah, okay, boo." And then Tiffany's like, "What is the problem?" And then that's when Geneva walks away. And Tiffany's like, "What is her issue?" And the episode cuts off. So that was the end of this week's episode. Like I said, Geneva, she is getting on my last nerve. Ooh, I just know I'm not gonna like her because I just know she's gonna keep pissing me off. But yeah, that was the end of this episode. Make sure you guys like, follow, and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys next week for episode 12 of Divorce Sistas.